Hey guys, it's Evan here. So I'm giving another update. This is my transition update number 2. As of right now, I am almost 3 weeks on testosterone. I get my 3rd shot in a few days. But I'm making this update today because today I filed for a name change. So what does that mean? Well, again, I'm very fortunate. I live in a very progressive state and I have the opportunity to change my name with pretty little hassle. I mean, there's a lot of running around, a lot of small things that I have to take care of, but for the most part, changing my name is not a big deal. Whereas people in other parts of the country do not have that luxury, and I'll talk about that in a second. But for me, what I had to do was first of all, I had to download a petition to change my name. So I could do that online. I downloaded that. I signed off, and what I said in the petition was, this is my current name. I want to change my name to Evan Bailey Jones. I'll talk about that in a second. And then I filled that all out. I had to take it to a notary and get that notarized. Then I had to get an affidavit, and this affidavit just simply said that I was changing my name for personal reasons and that I was not, in fact, trying to run from the law or run from my creditors, which I think that's fair. I think that's pretty smart. Now, in Rhode Island, an adult has the right to change their name for any reason that they want. It doesn't have to be for your gender, it doesn't have to be for anything. It could be that you just don't like your name and you think it's ugly. A lot of states don't have that law in place, but because of that, it's pretty easy for me to file. So I signed this affidavit. I also had to get that notarized, saying that I'm not trying to run from my creditors or the law or anybody else. Then I had to go and get a background check. And this is where I thought it was going to really slow me down because I'm used to running background checks at work and they take several weeks to come back. But I only had to get a criminal check in Rhode Island. So I went down to the Attorney General's office in Providence, Rhode Island. I stood in line for like 5 minutes. I paid them $5. They scanned my ID and literally in less than 2 minutes, I had the background check also notarized in my hand. And that was it. So I took those 3 pieces of paper and then I took my birth certificate and I took my current ID and I went to the probation office in my city hall, and I gave them all that along with $74 in cash. The lady filled out a few things. She made a copy of my license. She kept my birth certificate because I also asked to change the name on my birth certificate. And then she took the papers and that was it. And she actually gave me my court date right then because they do court dates for name changes every 30 days in Rhode Island. So I already know that on March 15th at 9 a.m. I'll go to the probate court and I'll sit there, and as long as everything goes through smoothly, which it should because I don't have any reason why I wouldn't be allowed to change my name, I'll be able to pick my decree up right there, and then I'll be able to go and start the process of changing it on my IDs. Now, changing it on my birth certificate, that's a separate process because I wasn't born in Rhode Island. I've got to send that to my state of birth and wait for them to send it back to me. But I am fortunate because my state of birth, very surprisingly, is one of the few states that actually has similar laws to Rhode Island, enough to where all I have to do is send them a decree from a court stating that my name change is legal, and they will adjust my name on my birth certificate and send that back to me. Otherwise, I can take care of my social security card, my license, then use that to change names on my address, my registration, my credit cards, basically everything that you have your name on that you never realize you have your name on it. So I'm going to be doing that for a while, but the process itself was pretty easy. Of course, I'll give you an update when I actually have the decree in my hand and I know I'm set to go. But as I was doing this, I decided to do a little of my own research and see what is it like for people in other parts of the country, because just because it's easy for me doesn't mean it's easy for other people. So what I found is actually the majority of the states in our country require you to have sex reassignment surgery in order to change your name or your gender marker. Now, think about that. I had a very feminine name. Most of you know my name was Heather. So it's pretty difficult. Say once I've been on hormones for a year, I go into a place, and now hormones in a lot of states don't count as sex reassignment surgery. It's actually a surgery. That's thousands of dollars, first of all. The majority of insurances don't cover sex reassignment surgery, so a transgender person has to come up with thousands of dollars to cover their own surgery. Then they have to have this very invasive surgery. And some people don't want surgery, and that's their personal preference. And you don't have to have a surgery in order to be transgender. You don't have to have a surgery to be a man or a woman. You can be fine with your body exactly the way that it is. Some people are okay with their body. Some people only want a certain surgery. They don't want all the surgeries. But the fact is that in most states, people are forced to have these surgeries just so that they can have a name that matches their gender identity. So imagine if I couldn't afford the surgery and I go into a bar with a full beard and a deep voice in a year from now, and I hand them an ID and it says Heather on it. That sets me up for harassment. That sets me up to be looked at. That sets me up to judge. That just sets me up to be kicked out of the bar because the guy doesn't believe that this guy is a Heather, you know? So it creates a lot of problems. And so I just put a map up real quick so that you can look at it. And so I'll show you the map now. So as we can see, you know, that's a lot of the country. And like I said, there's red states that they won't change it no matter what. No matter what you do, they're just refusing to change it. So they're just refusing to change your gender marker and refusing to change your name. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're an ally, support transgender rights, support advancement, and realize what people are going through to be authentic to themselves. And then as far as my name, Evan Bailey Jones, for those of you who are wondering, Jones. That's the last name that I was born with. I get to carry on my father's name again, and I'm very grateful to be able to do that, pass that on to our children. Bailey is from my favorite character in a movie, which is George Bailey, and It's a Wonderful Life, and that was a pivotal movie for me. It wasn't just a movie. It was a movie that made me realize how important I am, how important every little thing I do, every action has a reaction, has a consequence. And just because I think that showing up, that helping out, just because I think it doesn't matter if I send someone a note of encouragement, I think it doesn't matter if I answer the phone when someone needs something, I think it doesn't matter because I helped someone change their tire, which I don't know how to change a tire yet, but that's it doesn't matter because I gave someone a few bucks so that they could get a meal. It doesn't matter that I talked a friend through a crisis. It doesn't matter that I handed the homeless guy $1. Those are actually things that do matter. And in It's a Wonderful Life, talks about how every action matters. And I matter as an individual, not just in general. I matter as an individual. And so that's why I chose the middle name Bailey. But I didn't want that as my first name. So Evan was just a casual name that I liked. There was no real meaning to it. I just like it. It flows. And so that was it. That was Evan Bailey Jones. But this transition or update is running a little long, so I'm going to cut it off. But just reminder, guys, stay strong. Thank you to all my allies and supporters out there. And y'all have a good day.